if you look back about 4 or 5 years ago when we were first introducing 400ZR technology to the market, there's a few competing narratives in the industry. One was whether 400 gig was a unique intersection point where you could have these ZR optics on routers and be able to support the same form factors and power envelopes. Today we're introducing 800ZR and ZR Plus optics, and we're in the industry standardizing 1.6T optics that are expected to be introduced in the next couple of years. So I think that is clear that we've been able to continue to innovate and keep pace with that curve and enable that model, and that is driving broader adoption of the coherent optics on routers. The other aspect is where that model is used, and so early discussions, some people thought, okay, ZR would be used in these DCI metro applications that were the first kind of first case that was focused on. But from there we expanded and we introduced OpenZR Plus and OpenROADM and models that allowed those optics to be able to be adopted in broader use cases, whether that's in ROADM networks or whether that's in longer reach networks. And what we're seeing today as we introduce our 800 gig technology, we also have a version of that we call our 400 gig ULH that is using lower order modulation. It's designed to go into 400 gig sockets that already exist today, and it can cover over 3,000 kilometers. So now you can take this power and cost efficient architecture with the router based optics and you can deploy it anywhere in your network. And so today I think some of the market analysts report that the crossover point, we're right at that intersection where the ZR Plus optics are 50% or more of the coherent ports in the industry, and we just see that is growing, and if you look out a few years, it's going to be the by far the majority of the ports, and so that's driving a lot of the investment. This has all been driven by webscale customers who drove the 400ZR standardization and said, hey, if you develop this, we'll buy them in volume. They lived up to their promise. That is happening, and then that economy of scale is then being leveraged across other use cases and other applications, and it really is transforming the network in a really positive way.